did. Oh, it's been a while, boys. It's been a few weeks.
It has.
As playoffs
Concluded.
Yep, done.
Race for the Champions League. Done. Dusted. And the year of the dog. The underdog, that is. Because everyone that you wouldn't expect to win a trophy has pretty much gone and fucking done it. So, when we're celebrating only doubles, not trebles. Could be worse. You could be the only bit of success in your season could be celebrating someone not winning a treble. But hey ho. It is what it is. Morg. Play the intro.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Podcast, episode 31 of Season 4. My name is Fennan, and joining to me tonight, I've got two wonderful gentlemen. I'm feeling a bit rusty already. But starting off with the man who I will be side by side, shoulder to shoulder with this Friday evening, Mayhem. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, mate. I'm recovered from Saturday. Was down in the dumps for a little bit. But,
Yeah.
You have to kind of catch yourself on. It's overall we've had some good times, and yeah, it was disappointing on Saturday, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it. Some harsh truths are there, I think, some glaringly obvious.
Yeah, of course.
Things
Absolutely.
to go over.
There'll be a few for sure. And joining us back, we've got Gondor. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. Good.
Well, good. Oh, God, it's nice to be back together. Obviously, there's been a few things that have cropped up in the last couple of weeks where we could not record, unfortunately. From school trips to wardrobe disasters. It's honestly, you couldn't make it up. You really couldn't. But, yes, as we have said, playoffs are concluded. The race for the top four concluded, but of course we're going to start off with something that wasn't meant to be part of the script. Because we sat here weeks prior that a treble was on the horizon for the boys in green. But wasn't the case, lost in the cruelest fashion possible. Of course on penalties with Callum McGregor and Alistair Johnson missing from the spot, which allowed Aberdeen to clinch the Scottish Cup for the first time in 35 years. But overall, what did you make of the performance, Mayhem?
Shit.
Yeah. Next on.
Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on some people, but feeling like I'm going to be harsh. There's reports of this is as harsh as I'll get. Right? There's reports on people wanting Maeda, sell him, forget good price. Goes through 90th minute and shows why that guy, if we get 20 million plus, should be down the road. There's reports about Atalanta wanting Arnie Engels. Look, could the guy be a good player in 2 to 3 years? He could. Will Brendan Rodgers still be here in 2 to 3 years to make this guy the player he wants him to be? Probably not. So, we paid 11 million. Did we overpay? Yeah. Is he an 11 million pound player? Could he be? Yeah. If Atlanta was to come in with, 14, 15 million pound, I would take it. I doubt the club will, because obviously we've invested in him, but he just hasn't done it for me this season. Like if we're being fucking MotoGP there,
Fucking Need for Speed over here.
Sorry, that's the kids driving around outside my
Jesus
apartment.
Christ.
But yeah, look, I think if this was an academy prospect that had come through and the bulk of his goals had been penalties, and yeah, I don't think we would there would be as many people defending him as there is. I think overall he's been vacant in a lot of big games. A lot of the derbies, certainly on Sunday. I mean, hooked after 60 odd minutes. I just don't think normally, Celtic turn up and do the business. I just think we were complacent. We thought the game was done. Barring Maeda going through in the last couple of minutes where he should bury it and win us the game.
He should.
we never really broke them down. It's an own goal. Their goal was obviously a massive mistake from Casper. The game was bereft of quality, and probably the fact there was 2 own goals summed it up. And it goes to penalties, and at that point, I don't think there was any bad pens from us. Their penalties were exceptionally good, and the keeper's gone the right way on 2 of ours, and he's managed to get his team over the line. So, I think come the summer, I think we have to be realistic and honest about the team, and I don't feel overly attached to anybody in this squad, if I'm honest, which is mad to say coming off of the back of a double, and we could have won a treble. There isn't anyone that I think, what would we do without him? Would we lose something if Mayhem went? Yeah, we'd lose his work rate. But if all it takes to get into a Celtic team is running really, really hard, there's 60,000 people that you can put on a fucking treadmill, and they'll do that job.
Yeah.
That turn up every week.
It only feels like the only sentimental player would be Kieran Tierney, who's coming in back into the club anyway, and that's really the only one.
And still, there's no real connection there at the moment because he's been away for a while. Cameron Carter-Vickers is, if we got the right money for him, would it be difficult to replace? It'd be extremely difficult, but I don't think he's looked as colossal as he has in the last couple of seasons. Alistair Johnson, I think, has gone off the boil a bit. Whoever plays left centre back, I think, is a bomb scare, whether it's Trusty or Scales. Callum McGregor is probably the sentimental one. He's scored a lot of goals, but again, I think he's maybe dipped below his usual 8 out of 10 every game that he delivers for Celtic this season. Hatate's been in and out of the squad. I think he'll probably go. Arnie Engels, that I've said, been vacant. Kuhn was on fire, then he wasn't. Maeda scores 33 goals, but just in you look, going back a couple of weeks, he's bombing through at Ibrox 1-on-1, could win the derby. Bombing through in the cup final. Scores 33 goals. If he had a bit more composure, the guy could have scored 50. Adam Eder, I like the guy, but yes, he scored 20 goals, but again, he was an empty jersey on Saturday. So there's no one really in the squad that I think, we need to build the team around them. So I think it's in a weird way, you've won another title, you've done another domestic double. But it feels like a big summer. And maybe that's overreacting because we were beaten and played really poor against a bog standard average Aberdeen team that we've absolutely scalped the last couple of times that we've met them. But yeah, I don't. And I think look, if you kept the nucleus of this team together, it wins the league again next season. The league doesn't lie. We're miles ahead. They're absolutely dog shit. Doesn't matter if they fucking bring the royal family and themselves all the billions. They can't go and spend enough money because of PSR to fix that team. So next season I don't think is a risk in terms of the overarching gulf between the two sides. In terms of a league campaign, obviously we've seen in the derbies that they can match us on the day. But in terms of a league campaign, I'm not worried about that. But kicking on and making this squad better, I think you could go and make signings in nearly every position. I mean, Tierney coming in at left back dramatically improves us at left back. No matter, I think Greg Taylor's been a good servant. I think he gets a lot of hate. A lot of times he's scapegoated for poor performances, but I think he's been a great servant for the football club. But Tierney coming in, he is just a massive improvement. The only problem is he can maybe only play 20 games in a season. His minutes will have to be managed very, very carefully. And I would imagine we lose Hatate in this window, and probably one other big sale, whether that's Carter-Vickers, whether it's Alistair Johnson, whether it's Nicholas Kuhn or Mayeda. And then we have to go and make the requisite acquisitions and strengthen. And a couple of months ago, I apologised to Yang. I'm formally revoking that. Get the fuck out of my club, you dog shit cunt.
He didn't dip. He fucking full on dived.
It was just awful. Like, but what, you score 6 goals in a season, we're meant to forgive that you're actually that shit. That was brutal. Like, he didn't have a touch, couldn't control the ball, couldn't cross the ball. I don't know. He just looked like the Yang from the start of the season, and I couldn't be asked for that cunt back then. So your purple patch is done. Thanks for the memories. There's the door. Fuck off and go play for Southend or wherever you'll end up, mate. Because the guy's never a Celtic player, never in a million years. He wouldn't even get in a Motherwell team. Like, this guy, the fact he's at this football club is the fact. It just shows how much that we were trying to completely drain that continent of any kind of potential talent at one point. Right? We got Maeda, we got Hatate, we got Kyogo, and then we just started Kobayashi coming dog shit, Yang dog shit. There was the other fella that played CDM. I think he went on loan to Hibs. Dog shit. So, just get that shit done. Scott Bain, I think, has been told he can find a new club.
Finally.
In the summer. Just the medal collector that is Scott Bain that plays fucking no minutes. So we'll see where he ends up.
Could be a huge overhaul in the summer, potentially.
I don't think it will be, because our board are tight cunts, even though they've increased the season ticket prices by whatever it is, like 5% now it's up, even though they're absolutely berating football fans. They haven't met with the Green Brigade since November, but they seem to fucking have a problem with them because they decided that, calling out genocide is a bad thing. And there's no way that they just go and, even with, we've got qualifiers coming up, we've had this shit, haven't we, before? We can't make signings because we don't know what competition we're going to be in, all this rhetoric that will again resurface. So it'll all be fucking holding off till, we get through the qualifiers or we get to a certain point, blah, blah, blah. Load of shite. Load of fucking shite.
No. Well, I think a silver lining from the past 2 weeks was, of course, obviously the scoreline didn't really reflect it, but it was nice to see James Forrest clinch that 16th season in a row goal.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Really, it felt like a win, which was I was obviously out watching the game, and really did feel like a win when Jamesy got the equaliser against St Mirren on Trophy Day, and everyone went away happy. Little did we know that Celtic had something up their sleeve to fucking bomb the season.
Yeah, I know, right?
And when the dust settles on the year, it'll be remembered as a good year. We've won the league at a canter. We've done fairly well in Europe. We've won the League Cup. And such is the expectation of the football club, we're disappointed that we haven't gone on to clinch a treble, which is just, realistically, it's just us being sport brats. That's the truth. If you look down south and you look at City's dominance, I think they've only ever done one domestic treble. Like, this shit, no matter where you are or how dominant you are, whether you're Bayern Munich, Juventus, Man City, this shit is hard to do. And obviously we've become very accustomed to doing this. And we were 90 minutes away from doing another one, and we feel let down, which again does show a little bit of our sportness, and such as the fickleness of football fans. But within a couple of weeks, when everything settles down, once football's done and it's just transfer news and the British and Irish Lions tour, and we're all getting tucked into that, the season on reflection will be a good one. It's another domestic double. It's another title that takes us level on titles with Rangers and old Rangers combining their shit together, even if they want to continue that lie on.
Oldco and Newco. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. We're level, and there's still plaster most successful club on the walls and still play simply the best. Good for you. Everyone loves a dreamer. So with more trophies than them overall now, no matter where they pretend their founded date starts from. And again, there was European progression. Looking back on the fixtures, I don't think it will shine that favourably on us again should we make the Champions League. Obviously having to go through qualifiers now, because we did get some pretty favourable draws, and you've only got to look at the like of Leipzig, who had some really unfavourable draws. So I'm not sure we'll quite get a draw like that again. So it may be very difficult to repeat that journey in Europe, but overall it was a positive experience, one that's been a good season. But right now, obviously off the back of that, you sport or not, say what you want. In a year where we've had teams winning, their first trophies for 35 years or 41 years, or their first ever one, Crystal Palace, and maybe we are a little bit spoiled that we're unhappy that we haven't made a treble. But such as the winning machine that is Celtic, such as the standards that we set, and Brendan will know that. He'll know that in a lot of supporters' eyes, we fell short. The league was done and dusted in January, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So all we were building towards was a Bayern Munich game and then the Scottish Cup, and ultimately we lost both of them.
It came down to fine margins, though. Like, even with the Bayern Munich game, even though it felt like in the second leg that the scoreline didn't quite reflect on, obviously, the chances and the opportunities that came Bayern's way, but it went the way it did, and Celtic were rather close to progressing over Bayern Munich at one point, and then of course you had the old the game against Rangers where again Maeda misses a big chance in it, and then the cup final when Maeda misses a big chance again, where he easily could have hit 50 goals this season, but I mean that bar there in itself just goes to show, like, if Celtic can take the right steps forward in this summer, like, that gap further increases in the league, because you're a strong possibility of actually, not having any complacency in the domestic cup competitions, and a possibility of going further in Europe, perhaps, but depending on what draw is given to you, of course.
I don't know if we're set up to go any further in Europe than we've gone, to be honest. I mean, you look at the money, man. It's mental. The Premier League's only going to grow. Every fucking 5 minutes they're telling us how many more games they're showing on Sky Sports next year. I think it's up to like 215. So that TV deal that has them astronomically above anywhere else in Europe is set to grow. So, you get, and this is absolutely no spite or anything on Villa, but Aston Villa, who've been in the Champions League for 1 year, are just light years ahead of teams that have been in there for years and years and years. They were competing and beat Paris Saint-Germain in a one-off game at Villa Park, but competing with the team that's going to go play in the final on the weekend here. That's the astronomical difference of the Premier League. That Aston Villa can finish wherever they finish fourth to get in. I don't know how they qualified, but they can finish fourth and push teams like that. And then, again, it only gets stronger because Tottenham obviously win in Bilbao. There's five English teams that get into the Champions League. That means there'll be 6 in there.
Greatest final ever that was.
And then you look at the Europa League and the teams that are going to be in the Europa League. Like Aston Villa, like I said, are competing with PSG. They're going to be in the Europa League. They've got to go into it as one of the heavy favourites. Any team that ends up in the Conference League, was in Chelsea, absolutely just crash their way through that competition. Fucking putting out second string teams and breezing their way through. Nicholas Jackson looking like prime fucking R9 in that competition. So, you look at Nottingham Forest are going into that competition, and again,
they strengthen every year.
You would have to fancy them to go deep.
They end up buying an entire new squad every bloody year. They've got about 5 teams now behind them.
Yeah, if they don't win it, I'm sure their owner will be on the pitch giving fucking stacks about it anyway. But
fat fuck.
It's crazy, and people to say, "Oh, you're just pissed because you don't have the money." Yeah, you're right. I am.
Rightfully so.
There's some clubs that do fantastic business. Bournemouth, I feel so bad for them. They pick up, like I said, their Dean Holson from Juventus for like 15 million, and Madrid just come in and take him for 50. Like, it's broken, and Kirkes, God knows how much they got him for, but Liverpool are probably just going to take him.
And again, 3 times the amount they paid for him.
Look, and then you look at Bayer Leverkusen as well. You know what I mean? Bayer Leverkusen in the pomp in one of their best moments in recent history. They won the Bundesliga last year, finished again in the Champions League. Liverpool just linked with their right back and probably their best player, Florian Wirtz. It's mental. Like, just, and who's, Liverpool's a wee bit different. It's not Bournemouth or whatever, but we just come in and go, yeah, fuck it. Happy days. We'll pay it, no more. What do you want for Wirtz? 100 million? Yeah, no more.
Yeah.
And
we'll give you an extra 20.
And while we're here, we quite like your right back as well. He looks a player.
Well, apparently he's got like a 35 million release clause.
I know.
Well.
It's a shame it isn't more, because I'm sure Celtic will have a percentage in that deal.
Yeah, no, definitely.
They would have like a sell-on percentage. So, absolute fucking Bayer Leverkusen need to rejig that contract and get a lot of money from him. but
yeah.
Yeah, and then look, the Premier League is obviously fans over the world, and then it goes out with a global appeal. It dilutes, I think you hear people talking about it on the fan debate, all the those people between sort of like 25 and 45 that have followed their teams all their lives, and they're starting to see this dilution of the organic fan that would have come to Liverpool, that would have come to Man United, that would have come to Arsenal, and now it's a lot more touristy and it feels more American. The way that.
Oh, did you ever watch Tony Bellew on League of Their Own?
No.
Oh, he was brilliant. He was speaking to Jamie Redknapp and Michael Richards on the show, and he went he went to Jamie like, who do you support? He's like, Liverpool. He's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like, you're not from there. You're not from there. I tell you, if you shut all the airports, cut off any access into Liverpool, fucking Anfield will be empty on match day.
It's Liverpool as a worldwide appeal to it, but I think there is a lot of. I don't really follow the Prem. I watched the last day because it was a little bit interesting, but yeah. I think there is, once you come out with the top 6, and I know that Spurs and United finished a little bit further down in the league than that, but if you count them as like overall the top 6 biggest clubs who have that global appeal, once you come out of that and you go to Brighton and your Bournemouth, and it's a little bit more organic there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think success breeds this touristy, targeting, the what's it called, that dynamic pricing that we see in America.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're too far away from that, where you'll get like a Liverpool Sunderland next season, where you can get in for 45 quid, and then Liverpool Man United will be £200.
Yeah.
I don't see it being too far away from that, and that just makes it fucking impossible for people to bring their kids and allow the tradition to grow. And I know that there's like the Spirit of Shankly, that group that's connected with Liverpool, that's trying to do a lot for that, and supporters are trying to come together. But ultimately, I think that 14 out of 20 of the English Premier League clubs are owned by American owners. So, I mean, they're looking across and they're seeing Inter Miami charging fucking 400 quid because Messi plays 10 games a season.
Oh, my word.
And they must be thinking, hold on a minute. Messi's there and he's 50. He was good a couple of years ago. And now he's just, still all right, but he's not what he was. And I've got
him and Suarez just chilling now.
I've got Erling Haaland coming to town. Like, surely I can charge more. And you see Villa try and do it with the Champions League. It's just all about money, mate. Everything. Football clubs talk about inflation. Celtic's season ticket money was £35 million last season, in and around. Don't fucking quote me on it and then say, oh, he was off by £500,000. Shut your mouth. It was in and around that. And then with £35 million for a Scottish Premier League club, we get $2 million for winning the fucking league. And we've then gone and increased it again. Shit couldn't have gone up that much. However much you get from being in the Champions League, the player sales from Matt O'Reilly, from Joe, it couldn't have gone up that much. You don't have to absolutely destroy the fans. It's ridiculous.
No. That's stupid. It's everywhere, and you're starting to. I think we've spoken about it already. Like, you're starting to see the divide of that top half of the Premier League in comparison to the teams that go up
And
and then go straight back down.
And it can be done a different way. It will never be done this way in England, but it can be done a different way. Germany is a perfect example of that. I mean, you can go out to Germany, you can go and watch Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund, and you are paying roughly between, once it gets converted, £20 to £30, depending on the game.
Yeah.
It can be done a different way, but it just won't be, because it's the English Premier League, and that's the global appeal. And they can say, well, fuck it, if you don't want to pay it, this family traveling over from America will, that they're busting to get into a game. You're even seeing it at not dynamic pricing, but you're seeing it at Wrexham. You know what I mean? Because of the documentary and because of everything that's going on, people flying in from America can't get a ticket and are absolutely bummed that they can't get a ticket, that they fucking whack up a temporary stand. I mean, the old cop end at the race course. I don't know it in Welsh. You can correct me, Mug. But they just whack up.
I'll butcher it, so I'll get cut anyway.
They whack up a fucking temporary stand so they can fit 2,500 more people in. So that's the appeal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the global appeal, and obviously that's times by a lot when it comes to the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea.
It's just like you said, especially with the ownership there as well. You've got the Glazers, Kroenkes, John Henry. It just further encourages having this international attraction to the Premier League.
Well, I apologise for making this podcast an economical fucking financial debate about PSR. Anyway, let's talk about the Championship, and obviously the league season's done. We're all thankful for that, but we'll talk about Championship, League 1, League 2. We're in the playoffs. We made some bold predictions.
We did.
I think you're the only one that got one right, Morg, I think.
It would have been 2, but Walsall bottled it earlier today, so it was just Sunderland.
Indeed, Sheffield, Sunderland. I didn't get to watch the game because I was watching Aberdeen beat us.
No, I saw Tom Watson's winner, and the whole half of Wembley just erupt. Yeah,
the emotion. I just watched the League 2 one there. That was just on before we started AFC Wimbledon. Obviously, like you said, beating Walsall. But the emotion, the contrast, they're fantastic spectacles, and obviously we've seen that a lot across the back end of the last bit of the season with Palace, with Spurs, Aberdeen, and then Sunderland, Wimbledon, and Charlton as well. So it
feels like it's been a long way back for some of these teams. Sunderland being a huge one, obviously, where they suffered back-to-back relegations, and then they had their own Netflix documentary, Sunderland Till I Die.
They lost at Wembley as well, didn't they, a couple of years back?
Yeah, against Charlton as well.
Yeah, in the League One playoff final. So that they haven't had it easy, and I think they'll struggle to keep hold of a few players. I've heard that Bellingham is again wanted by.
Bellingham's linked away. That Watson's already agreed to go to Brighton for 15 odd million. So yeah,
it'd be tough to. Yeah, half the reason that the Prem has been. I don't want to say dull, because if this reaches the wrong ears, they all fucking shit at their pants, don't they? But the reason it hasn't had the same allure for, say, a neutral is, just how far detached the three teams that have come up have been.
Yeah.
I mean, in a normal relegation season, Man United and Tottenham would have had a chance of going down. Fucking hell, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. The drop-off is massive between the other 7 teams, and to think that Tottenham United were down there.
And everyone was saying Ipswich, I think they'll do well, and people are saying the same about Leeds. Obviously, Leeds are a massive football club, a massive institution, but you've got to go in and do some serious fucking transfer business to be competitive in that league.
It's like football manager magic you got to perform.
But that's what Forest did, isn't it? Like, they literally, when they came up, they pretty much butchered their team and just bought 2 new teams.
Well, I think I think that, and it's that sort of has amplified the problem, right? So if you think about, those teams that come up like to Forest, they spent a shit ton, right? And obviously got hit with points, but then kind of moved away from that championship status club, and then they survived, and then they built. So you almost have to do that. You almost have to take the hit that you're going to get for buying 14 players
They
to
spent like, I think it was like in the 20s in their first season back up Forest.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They absolutely, like you said, dismantled their team and went through it. But that's the jump. I mean, I imagine Leeds will try and do it a little bit differently. They'll keep the likes of Ethan Ampadu. They'll keep Joe Rodon. But you'd imagine there'll be quite a few of them that. I mean, your likes of Patrick Bamford, these boys, they're going to go. Joseph Mateo, he's never a Premiership player. I mean, and if you look at some of the boys they've lost, Somerville, Ruta, could have really done with those boys. So they've got to go out and find some gems. Otherwise, they're in deep shit.
This is it, yeah. It's huge.
Same with Burnley. Scott Parker will be sacked after 5 games. He'll be crying he hasn't got enough money again, and he'll be back down managing the championship team.
Exactly.
Because just how on earth, unless, like I said, you're ready to take those regulation hits, how the fuck do you go and compete even if it's, like, say next season Spurs are back, United are back to some degree and they're up in that echelon. Wolves that have been down there every season, Everton, they're going to be in a new stadium. But looking under David Moyes, have been a completely different team as well. So, you're looking at these consistent, like people like Brentford and that, Crystal Palace, they're fucking miles away from championship teams, and it's become so hard now to get up. That to actually get up is fucking difficult, but then staying up,
10 times harder now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, I mean, I'm low-key disappointed about Charlton getting promoted. I mean, happy for them, see them back in the second tier, but it definitely makes it certain that Nathan Jones is not leaving Charlton.
Yeah. I thought Orient would do it as well. Obviously, I predicted them.
Yeah.
They'd been on, a great run. But they were poor in the final, to be honest. The goal Charlton scored as well. The keeper, I think,
the free kick.
Keeper should do a little bit better. But I thought Orient were poor overall. I think Charlton deserved to win the game, although again it was a cagey affair and not tons of quality in the football match, to be honest. So they're back on that journey, back in the second tier for the first time since they got absolutely scudded out of it.
Yeah.
So, back in the Lyle Taylor days and all that kind of carry on. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think the championship, although it's very difficult, I think it's extremely difficult to predict who's going down next season.
Yeah.
I think Birmingham are coming up and they won't want to hang about. I can't foresee Birmingham being anywhere near the drop zone. Wrexham, I don't know, because every time they go up, people say they're going to have a year to build, and then they just go and get fucking promoted. I don't think they'll get promoted.
No.
But I think what they will do is move in a way that's very clever. They're being linked with Jamie Vardy.
Yep.
I don't know if that will come to fruition, but I think they'll move very tactically and acquire some key players.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be okay. And then it leaves you with, Charlton have just come up, and the teams that were just above that drop zone. But things can turn so quickly in the championship.
I might make a bold statement and say the 3 teams coming up will stay up. I think with Nathan Jones, who has obviously done it before with Luton, where he's had a tight budget, if a budget at all, and I think he will take Charlton to safety at the very least, and then build on that. Birmingham, I feel, will obviously have the finances behind them. I mean, they brought in fucking Jay Stansfield for 20 million in League One.
Yeah, I think it works out. It was 12. I think my bold statement is Birmingham make the playoffs next year. I don't know if they go up. but I think they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like
Out of those 3 teams, I'd back Birmingham over the other 2.
Yeah, I think Wrexham. I think, to be honest, I don't think. Look, I know that this isn't a direct correlation again, but in case this gets clipped up and anyone comes at it, right? We've all played Football Manager, right? And sometimes you're too successful for your own good. So you get to a level and you're like, oh shit, my stadium doesn't meet the requirements. I have no academy. My budget is 3 times lower than the next lowest.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to go through that stage. Look, they're trying to build a stand. I think that increases their home capacity by about 8,000, but I think they're being held up with that through the red tape of politics and all that kind of carry on. So they are trying to do that, but I think the infrastructure is a massive thing they have to work on, and they kind of have to grow into this because say they do what they've always done, right, and they get promoted and they're in the Prem. They won't be able to play a fucking home game for the first. We see what happened with Luton.
Yeah, Bournemouth as well when they first
Yeah.
went up.
You know what I mean? So they'll be having to jog down the road and ask if they can borrow the Cardiff City Stadium to play their home games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it gets to a point where you kind of have to level out and grow. Any Wrexham is that this
Premier League football's back, boys.
They'll just want to keep riding the wave, and good luck to them. But I think they've probably got to go through that stability. I know from watching the documentary, they do have I think they got him last season, a new director of football, someone that was previously at Inter Milan and stuff. That's fucking mental, isn't it? Like, they're employing people that were at Inter Milan. That's nuts.
He obviously watched the documentary, didn't he?
Of course he fucking did. Of course he did.
Just wanted his screen time.
He's got Disney Plus subscription for life, that guy.
Honestly, when I fly over on Wednesday and I show up at my dad's place and he's got Wrexham fucking bed sheets, I swear to God. He loves them. Oh, fucking great story, Wrexham. Yeah, it is a great story, but you're getting a bit too excited here, Dad.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I see Wrexham coming out the gates swinging next season. They've got all their momentum from all of these things.
Yeah.
10 games in, they're going to hit a wall and they're going to realise how much tougher football can be when you get to the top 2 flights. And they're going to struggle from that point on.
Yeah, look, I think momentum takes you to a certain place, and then, like you said, reality dawns. But no one's ever done what they've done. Back to back to back promotions, first time ever. So they've already got that pedigree. They've got owners that genuinely care about the football club and want to make the correct decisions. They seem to have people within that football club that are switched on as well. Even though the fans, I'm sure, are getting carried away and already eyeing up away days at the Emirates next year. But there'll be
with a fucking self in front of the Thierry Henry statue.
Well, you just knew that was going to happen.
My spidey senses tell me this is going to get fucking tasty, baby.
So, I think it's like you said, it's a great story.
Yeah,
I think it's a modern day kind of FM thing, isn't it? It's a real life journey because everyone and their dog's done a Wrexham save. So seeing them go on that journey is.
But this was way before, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Way before.
So I hope they do. Hope they do well. I think it's good for football. It shows that there's still a little bit of love and care and attention. Football clubs can rise up the ranks and really deliver. And I think they've surpassed anyone's expectations. I mean, people will predict them to be mid-table in League One, so they've already done the 2-finger salute to everyone in League One.
Yeah.
But I mean, the level of team that you come up against. I mean, the parachute payments that clubs will still be getting, it becomes mental. You're going into a league that's going to have Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton. Just for starters. Let alone the fact that Sheffield will be in there again. That'll be a tasty game.
Oh,
Billy
yeah.
Billy Sharp made
Yeah.
sure of that, didn't he?
Yes, of course.
That'll be tasty. But yeah, you Chef U, you've Chef Wednesday. You know, the the level just grows so big. You know, I'm sure when they went away to Birmingham last season, they thought, "Fuck, you know, these are a bit serious." That's every team.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You're going to places with 40,000 crowds. You know what I mean? It's fucking it's proper now.
Yeah, it's going to get real for them. And like I said, I think they'll be strong enough to stay up. But by all means, it's going to be, you know, they're going to meet their match for sure.
Yeah, and I think Birmingham will. I think they'll do well. So obviously, yeah, that was a little bit about League One, Charlton, League Two, AFC Wimbledon. Johnny Jackson secures it. Notts County losing the playoffs again.
Yep.
They are fantastic at that. And then ultimately, Walsall, that spent 200 days in an automatic promotion place, lose out at Wembley.
For the final hurdle, yeah.
AFC Wimbledon. Fantastic story again. I know that, you know, it was it 2016? I think they were saying on the TV the last time they were there. So it's not the first time that they've been back at that level. But you know, what a phoenix club rising from the ashes of having your club stolen.
Yeah, exactly.
And dumped in Milton Keynes of all places. But now you're leaving Milton Keynes behind in the league below and fucking off to League One. So
moving on.
Your man in Milton Keynes would be looking to buy him, wouldn't he? Be trying to do a club swap.
Be great. No, happy for them. No, good to see them. Was really surprised. I did. Obviously, I backed Walsall in my prediction, and yeah, purely off the base of, you know, being in a promotion spot for so long for a big portion of the season, and for them to just come up short in the playoffs.
Who went up out of the National League? Do we know? I've not even looked at it.
Scunthorpe United, I think, went up.
Scunny are back, are they?
I think they're back. I can't remember if it's like National League South, North, whatever it is. I don't know if it feels from one of them or if they've come out the Premier.
They haven't come out the Premier.
Oh, okay. Who came out the Premier then?
Scunny.
Barnet finished top.
Oh, fucking local team.
One second. Who comes out? Is it the top promoted?
You know, Barnet are going to go back.
One team goes up, and then from 2nd to 7th play in the playoffs.
So Barnet have definitely gone up.
They'll go straight back down next season. They always do.
And I'm not
yo-yo club.
I'm not sure if the playoffs have finished.
They normally play first, don't they?
Do they? I can't.
Because it's weird, isn't it? Like,
well, they've kind of gone back the front though, haven't they? Must have done.
Yeah, Southend v Oldham is on the 1st of June.
1st of June. Oh, dear mate, we got to find a boozer somewhere and we can watch that, mate. 1st of June. Like, why?
Is it at Wembley? It is at Wembley.
Yeah, they play it at Wembley.
Will it even be on TV? It's on DAZN 1. Someone needs to bring a Fire Stick. I mean, their DAZN subscription allegations are not welcome here. Fucking good luck finding a boozer that'll be sharing that.
There'll be somewhere, surely. Gotta be. Something to do on Sunday. We need activities to do to break up the drinking, as they said.
Oh, well, it's going to be in a pub, mate. That's not going to break up any drinking, is it? That's going to encourage it. Southend Oldham. Fucking hell, mate. That was a League One game about 10 years ago.
It was. Mental now. Well, we flirted with the name long enough. Let's go over to some Football Manager. We've got a lot to address. A lot. So we had a season to finish. We're in our 3rd season of Ligue 1. How far did we get? We got to finish. So we did January, and then we just did the remainder of the season. So, Gondor, I could see your computer monitor from here.
Oh, sorry, man.
Why don't you kick off in terms of how you did?
So to finish off the season, did all right. Like nothing special. I had wins, I had losses. I had a nice 5-2 victory over Bordeaux at one point.
Yeah, boy.
Had a. I remember this bit because I think the last time I spoke about FM, I only had like 8 games left to play. I'd gone ahead a little bit. And literally the day we spoke about it last, I jumped on and I played 5 of my last 8 and 2 wins, a draw, or a loss, you know. Then I looked at my final 3 games of the season and they were Lorient, Nice and Lille, who were all like 3rd, 4th and 5th or 2nd, 4th and 5th, something like that. So I was like, this is shit. And I turned it off for about 2 weeks. Didn't touch it. Then you boys kept asking me to hurry up so that we could do the transfer window. So I beat Lorient, lost 3-1 to Nice and drew 2-0 to Lille. I finished last season. Where's my history? Stages. I finished last season in 9th place, 14 wins, 5 draws, 15 losses, goal difference of 3, 47 points. The loss on the last day also cost me because I was playing Lille, and if I had beaten Lille, I would have finished inside of European football.
Right, we'll get on to. We'll get on to transfers after because we're going to save the cherry on top with you, Mayhem. But I'm going to go through my results first. It was a good campaign, adapting to a 3 centre-back formation with 2 wing-backs was definitely an experiment, which I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed playing it in the end. Saved it as one of my formations to use in the near future. With any spontaneous saves I decide to do, but we had a good run this season. In terms of cup competitions, we crashed out in the semi-finals to who else but they who shall not be named. We lost by 2-1. We managed to get all the way to the quarter-final of the Europa League, where we came up just short against Athletic Bilbao, who, by the way, have the most ridiculous academy I've ever come across in Football Manager. Stupidly good. Any standout results? We got a 4-1 win against Monaco. That was our third to last game. We wrapped up the season by beating a favourite side of yours, Gondor, Guingamp. We beat them 4-0. And that got us to finally break into the top 4. 65 points after 34 games, 19 wins, 8 draws, 7 losses with a goal difference of plus 31. But I know Mayhem's sitting there and he's going to be like, hold my beer. You had quite an extravagant turn of events in your save.
Yeah, feels a while ago now. I was really excited to deliver this update.
I know.
And then life gets in the way, and we've moved so far past it now. And I didn't really save any of the screenshots, but the overarching news was that yes, with Le Havre, I had a very good season. Adam Ida scored 20 goals.
Wow.
Abdullah Sima scored 20 injuries and barely fucking played. Great signing that was. But everything seemed to click, and we went out in the semi-finals of the French Cup, which I was really disappointed about. In the year of the dog, I wanted to be one of those dogs, those underdogs. Wasn't to be, but the league campaign, I would say up until February. Now, take this with a pinch of salt, because obviously we were up against PSG. Up until February, we was in a title race.
Oh, boy.
I was 4 points behind PSG. We got into February, and our confidence just crashed out of our arse. But we ended up finishing third. Monaco was second.
Wow.
PSG were top, obviously. Where else would they be? But they only ended up winning it by like 3 points from Monaco. At one point, I thought Monaco were actually going to do the unthinkable. But FM just did FM things, and Monaco shit the bed in the last day of the season. So that was that. Unbelievable Champions League football at Le Havre. But I will never ever see a Champions League night at Le Havre because as I was going through May, clicking continue and spamming Stu with messages about how he needs to hurry up and get the season done, Olympique Marseille give me a job interview. And to be honest, I think we'd had this conversation before. I'd had job interviews from Sevilla, I'd had job interviews from Lens. I don't know if I told you about the RC Lens job interview. What I do remember is I rejected them and then I went and beat them 6-1. So fuck you, Lens.
Yeah, I do recall you saying that it was a bit of a sideways move when the interview came around.
It sounds mad when you say Lens is a sideways move from Le Havre, but that should give you some context of where I was in the league. I absolutely thumped them 6-1, so fuck you, Lens.
Yeah, and Eli Wahi moved on by then as well, so what's the point?
But yes, in come Olympique Marseille, went to the job interview. I think the door literally just hit the latch and closed as I was leaving the job interview, and they asked me back into the room to offer me the job. So I'd barely click continue, and they were right, yeah, and come on down. Accepted the job interview. So there is a caveat here. So now what would normally happen is we would tell Stu to sell his best player. Stu would pick a formation for me. However, when I joined Olympique Marseille, Mason Greenwood was still in the squad. He was the best player in the squad. He was a 4-star player. And we agreed that this time, so I could sell Mason Greenwood and therefore not have to play a formation because it's Mason Greenwood. The guy shouldn't be on the game, let alone in my team.
Exactly.
We would pause any kind of punishment because ultimately I was being punished. I was selling my best player, but I was always going to do that anyway. So he went out the door, and Napoli showed that by their top shit asses because they paid 88 million.
88 million pounds. Jesus Christ, it's not even a punishment, is it?
88 million pounds they paid for Mason Greenwood. When I swear to you, when I clicked go and spoke to his agent, I can tell this guy. When I looked at first, I thought they'd bid 8.8, which I was going to accept. And then I went, oh no, that's a bit more than that. So yes, he went for 88 million pounds. The board swallowed 30 million of that. Not that makes it any better for you guys. It's still 50 odd million to.
That's still cheeky though, isn't it?
And as you know, I invested in a couple of players. Now, when I arrived, Tomiyasu had already been signed by the club, so that wasn't me. Benjamin Goshi had been signed from Rapid Vienna, so he's lucky he didn't get binned as well, but I did need a third choice keeper. Paxton Arison, he will be a Premier League player next season in real life, plays for Leeds. He's been loaned in from Eintracht Frankfurt. That wasn't me either. That does have a 2.5 fee attached to it at some point in the future. But my signings for 1.1 million was Renato Sanchez, because all my midfielders are 35.
Best ever player to wear the Swansea shirt. What a legend.
Mohamed Kaba from Salento for £10 million. This guy's a fucking baller. Has just got injured and will be out for 3 months, so I'm a little bit sad.
Oh, God.
And then, so that was obviously £11 million, and then the bulk of the money, £31 million, was spent to replace the goals because Mason Greenwood had bagged quite a few goals last season. Arnaud Kalimuendo.
From Rennes, yeah.
31 goals. He scored 13 goals in 10 league games. He's all right, isn't he?
He's not bad. He's all right, yeah.
Well,
I've heard some things about him.
So yes, we're Olympic Marseille. I got a little bit carried away with this save, boys. I've played 14 league games. I've done a stew. I've gone a little bit too far.
You're not alone, mate.
Mhm.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
So I don't know if I'm the first person to do this, but PSG have been beaten. First game of the season, the Trophy des Champions. Only the French could put trophy at the start of that. Beat them on penalties. So fucking get it up, your PSG. Played Nice on the first day of the season. 1-2-0. Second game of the season, as in a Super Cup. Turns out Marseille won the Europa League. This team's alright, isn't it? Lost 3-2 in extra time to Man City.
Oh.
Their team, by the way, I thought PSG's team was a joke. Their team is utterly disgusting. In extra time, they brung Jamal Musiala off the bench.
Oh, as you do. Yep.
And he scored the winner.
Yep, bastard.
So no Super Cup, which was a little bit...
But you got the French Community Shield equivalent.
Yeah, and apparently it was the first time in 12 years that they'd won it. So
well, you've officially got the first piece of silverware out of us three. So there you go.
I then played SM Kane, beat them 2-0. Played Brest, beat them 4-1. 4 Carly Mwendo goals. He's all right.
Mate, he's all right, isn't he? He's all right.
St Etienne's beat them 3-1. Then it was the day I had to return to Le Havre.
Oh, mate.
91st minute winner to beat Le Havre 2-1. They clapped me onto the pitch. They booed me off when I celebrated.
Giving it the Mourinho.
Lille come to town. Big club, Lille. Like them a lot. They got thumped 5-2. And then I found out very quickly that what we are to Lille, I am to Barcelona. I got thumped 5-1 in my first ever Champions League game away at the Nou Camp. 4-0 down at half time. So technically we drew the second half, but you don't get any points for that. And then we come back to domestic football against FC Nantes. And just for you, Morg, they were absolutely dispatched 3-1.
Beautiful.
So that's 10 games. There's another 4 results that I haven't quite screenshotted. But at the 14 game mark, I have played 14, won 11, lost 3. One of those is to PSG. I'm second in the league. PSG are 4 points in front. So it's looking like it's a race between me, Lens, and Lille for best of the rest. And PSG will hit their inevitable stride. But just to make you feel a little bit better about the job you're doing, Stu, in my save, Brest are 18th. They've played 14 games. They've picked up 9 points. So,
well, shall I go next?
Well, this is the thing, right? So, yeah, I will let you go next, but there's going to be a point, and you'll know which point I'm talking about, where we're going to collaborate, so to speak.
Yes, yeah. I know that point. So, Joel, you may have played 14 games. I have played 18. I am waiting just before the January transfer window to continue. I actually played quite a lot of this while on call with Morgan. And he can attest that I was having such a great time. And every time I got to a point, I would say, right, I need to stop. And then I just couldn't. I kept going. So transfers, I started it all off. I brought in a defensive midfielder because my team were kicking off about me not having any defensive midfielders. This guy has not actually made a start for me yet. His name is Raphael Koffler. And I sold no one at that point. Then I let go my backup keeper who had played a fair few games for me because I am the master of injuries and all my teams get injured, and started to use that money to try and reinvest.
2 seconds. I'm sorry to interject, but you've just reminded me of something that I have to tell you. Okay, so Pau Lopez, who is obviously the goalkeeper for Marseille, got injured. I need to find the game. A screenshot of it.
Go on, keep going, Stu, and see.
So I came into it. I needed a new striker as well because I lost Del Castillo. He went to FC Lorient. They gave me 3.3 million for him, and he was my backup striker. So I went out and bought Jair Montero from SLB's B team. That's Benfica, isn't it?
Benfica.
Yeah. I got him on a free. Then I went in for a player. And while I was going in for this, got all the way up to the negotiate their salary stage.
Yeah,
and
the contract,
when you've got to make that promise, there was one that was greyed out, couldn't remove it. So I had to sign another player from their country. So I went out and bought Nikola Katic from Zurich. Now, Nikola Katic is a 30-year-old Bosnian defender. I didn't realize he was Bosnian. I thought he was Croatian because 3 days later, my new goalkeeper comes in. A young, wonderful young keeper, 24-year-old Croatian, by the name of Nikola Kavlina. Morgan, would you like to take the next step?
So, Nikola Kavlina is a goalkeeper I signed in my first transfer window. And I reiterated to Gondor that Nikola Kavlina has already been signed by one of us. And going back through the screenshots to provide evidence, it came to my realisation that with the screenshot didn't mention his name in it. So Gondor here didn't know it was Nikola Kavlina. So yeah, we basically it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen that one of us.
I'm surprised it took three seasons.
But what we've agreed on, and I said, like, look, okay, I'm at fault here. I didn't state his name in the screenshot. I've decided to drop Kavlina. I mean, 2 reasons. 1, Gondor, you signed him, and 2, he's a whiny little bitch because he also wanted a fucking fellow Croat at the club as well, and I completely forgot about it in his contract stipulation. And has been whining all season on. He's dropped to the reserves. I'll get onto my signings in a moment, but yeah, yep. Go on.
So I got Kavlina. I then went out and bought a actual Croatian, 27-year-old defensive midfielder Nejesmic from Osijek.
Yep.
And he actually has started to push into the team. He was literally just signed to be a Croatian to make Kavlina happy. Then
such a dickhead. I hate him.
I mean, but they're not all Yugoslavia once. They can all be pals, can't they? Bosnia.
This is what I mean. Yeah,
like. During this, I sold Santiago Mele, who was my starting goalkeeper for all of last season. Got 14.75 million for him, which is quite nice because I signed him for $1 million. So I seem to have a rotation of goalkeepers just providing money for me to buy new players. Then I sold Nico Melamed, and that was another one of my backup strikers, and also played right wing for me. So I went out and I found a free agent, a player by the name of German Valera. He's Lithuanian. Used to play for Atletico Madrid at one point. He's come in. He's awesome. And then I needed another backup goalkeeper because now I had no goalkeepers at the club. So I signed a Welsh youngster, 20-year-old Eli Harrison from Man United. Then I did what I think is my best bit of business all season so far. I signed a new right winger because you can never have too many. Laum Chuauna Chelaume. He is French. I signed him from Juve. Used to play for Rennes in real life. He has come in and absolutely torn everything apart. And then I needed a right back, so I went out and got Antoine Mendy, a 22-year-old who played for Nice. And he's also been awesome.
Defender, isn't he?
Yeah, right back.
Right back.
I have to move him off my shortlist.
He's popped up on mine a few times as well.
He's actually really good.
Yeah. But how have you done? How have you done so far in the 18 games?
So I opened with a match against Marseille. We drew 2-2. Beat Troyes 4-0. Drew to Monaco 3-3. Beat Lyon 3-2. Lost to Lille 2-1. Then went on to beat Toulouse, Rennes, Angers, drew to Auxerre, beat Nice, beat Lorient, lost to PSG, beat Montpellier, beat Lens, beat Reims, beat Nantes, lost to Strasbourg, and I've just played Marseille for the second time and beat them 3-2.
Bastard.
Which means I am sat with 18 games played. Now, unlike Joel, your save, PSG are having fun on my save because they are currently sat top with 17 wins, 1 draw, and 52 points. But there is this surprising fucker in second place known as Brest with 12 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses, 39 points. So we're 3 points clear of Monaco, who are in turn 3 points clear of Lille at this time.
Good. So far, so good. Right. I'm loving this season so far already. Like yourself, Gondor, I have hit 18 games in the league, along with playing the Champions League campaign. Now, it turns out when you finish 4th in Ligue 1, you have to go through the qualifying stages. So we had 2 qualifying rounds that we had to surpass to get into the group stage. We played Club Brugge in the 3rd qualifying round, who we comfortably beat 6-2 at home, but then lost 2-1 away from home. Still managed to progress. We then came up against Fenerbahce in the final playoff round, who we beat 4-0 at home, but then lost 2-0 away to in Turkey. That's just the start of the beginning. This is like the start of the beginning of how fucking great it gets. So, standout results. I'm happy to say that PSG have been overcome, beaten them by 3-1. Lille we've beaten 6-1 at home as well. We opened up our group stage campaign with a very big team that I very know, Celtic. At Paradise as well. They took the lead, and I hate to break it to you, Mayhem, but we came back and won 2-1 late on as well.
Sounds like us.
We then went away to Stamford Bridge, away at Chelsea. We were 1-0 down up until the 80th minute. The final score stood Chelsea 1, Clermont 3.
So just to interject here quickly for you, my last friendly before the season kicked off was to Chelsea. And they slaughtered me 5-2. I don't think we're playing the same game.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I haven't got all my results screenshotted here. And I stupidly took a picture. Is there a screenshot in it and send it to you via WhatsApp on my computer? I took a picture on my phone, on my monitor to you. But it basically says 3 words: stop the clock. Because as things stand after 18 games, Monaco do have a game in hand, but we're sat top of Ligue 1 right now with 43 points. Monaco are second with 42 points with a game to play, and in third is little old PSG with 41 points.
The problem is that PSG will go on a run where they don't lose.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they've played 18 games unbeaten in my save at the moment, Vian.
Yeah, they will just go on a run. It's ridiculous. That said, until February, I thought I was in a title race, and then they just hit overdrive. But I found the game. It was against St Etienne. Right? So Paul Lopez gets injured in the 10th minute. It's 0-0.
No keepers on the bench.
Yeah, no keeper on the bench.
Oh
I had
my god.
Chris Mbemba in net.
Yeah.
Chance in Bemba, crikey.
Guy gets an 8.5 rating and we win the game 3-1.
Fuck off.
Mic drop. Boom. Done.
Goalkeeper rating of 3. Gets an
Mate.
8.5.
Mate.
Every highlight, I was worried as soon as St. Etienne's crossed the halfway line. And please don't shoot.
Mate. Start him in net next game.
I thought, I was having a good season. You know what I mean? Second, 4 points off of PSG. All you ball bags turn up fucking level with me or above me. But
For now.
I played obviously a few more Champions League games. I don't have the screenshots, but I also had Celtic. I drew 2-2 with them at home, which was a bit conflicting because obviously I was happy they drew with us, but also disappointed we didn't win. I beat Inter Milan.
Nice.
That was a crazy game, and who was the other one? There was another decent team that won. Fucking David Marlin or Darnell Marlin, the boy that's at Villa in real life.
Oh, Daniel Marlin, yeah.
Banging an 88th minute winner in that game. I'll update you fully next time. I think I've just drawn a game actually in the Champions League as well, so I don't think I'm going to be top 8, but I should be. I would imagine. I'm going into the easier run. I've got like Galatasaray and stuff like that at the back end of the. So I would hope I'd be in contention for a playoff position.
I'm telling you, boys, we'll win it to win it this season. This is it. This is our year.
I mean, I'm not. I'm 13 points behind PSG at the halfway stage.
Well, maybe not you then. Well, if it makes you feel better though, Gondor, if I look at my table right now, Marseille are sat 13th, and Brest are in Ligue 2.
Yeah, Marseille is at 10th in mine, and Clermont got relegated the first season and haven't made it back up since.
Yeah, this is it.
Marseille need to sell Mason Greenwood. He goes for a bit.
Apparently so. Well, we won't be able to update you next week because obviously we'll be loving life down in Bournemouth. Bournemouth. Mate, honestly, it's going to be... I'm buzzing for it, man. Like, absolutely buzzing for it. And if it's, it maybe... a bit crap that we don't get to record next week, but my God, it's going to be a memory that's going to live in the ages for sure. But
it'll be good.
It'll be absolutely fantastic.
Are you bringing your laptop?
Mate, I mean, my laptop's like 15 years old. I haven't touched FM on it since you stayed over and we discovered Alfred Fimbo.
All right, yeah, I forgot you've upgraded to a PC.
Yeah.
I have also just realised a little something about our FM saves. Joel, me and Fernand are playing on the older version. We didn't have the fixes. Mason Greenwood never made it to Marseille in our saves.
Yeah, he did.
Not in mine.
No, he should be.
I've looked him up now. He's at Man United, then went on loan to Getafe, and then and that was from 23, 24 all the way up until 25, 26, and then he went to Atletico Madrid.
Well, like I said, we'll win it to win it, and we're going to have a massive update for you, ladies and gents, next time we record. But we're going to end things there. Boys, thank you as always for this evening. Mayhem, looking forward to seeing you in a few days' time. Gondor, don't miss me at work
tomorrow.
too much. Don't miss me at work too much, mate. I'll be loving life in 48 hours, I'll tell you.
Yeah, me too. A couple of days without you will be joy.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm the entertainment in the workplace. What are you on about?
There's enough of that already.
Great, cool. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, we're available on all audio platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Audible. If you're watching us over on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring that bell for notifications, and until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and a star.